This week's agenda, we have an overview of AmeriMasala, an update on Erie Refocused Summer of Hope door-to-door canvassing initiative, an update on the strengthening police-community partnerships, and a recognition of several heroic citizens. Now I'll turn it over to the mayor.
Thanks, Renee. Sorry we don't have a bigger room here with more chairs. I feel bad to see so many people having to stand. But good morning. I'd first like to introduce Lynn Johnson, who will come up and tell us about Erie's very first celebration of AmeriMasala. It's an all-colors cultural arts festival. Lynn started talking to me about this many months ago, and I'm glad to see it's finally come to fruition. Lynn?
Well, actually, we did AmeriMasala like about, last we did 13 years ago. We did 10 previously. It's our first time back. It's a multicultural festival. We're about breaking down bridges, bringing people together. We're using the arts as a tool to do this. This right here is one of our giant puppets. And Saturday, it starts at 11 o'clock. The whole festival itself starts at 11 o'clock, but at 12 o'clock, we have a giant parade that starts from on 4th Street and marches all the way to the park. And we'll have like Batula, a 15-20 member, all-female Afro-Brazilian percussion group, that I'm bringing in from New York City, and they'll be pushing the parade up to the park. And we'll have other puppets besides this, of course. The giant puppets we're actually bringing in from the Cleveland Art Museum is coming in to be part of the parade also. And in the park, we'll have various bands, the Mulligans, One More Tribe, and food also. This right here is basically what we're trying to do. You're going to witness the beginning of a tradition. So as time goes on, I'll be bringing in different puppet making masters. We'll have some in the city. We may have some as far as Fairview, some as far as Northeast, Edinburgh, whatever. And these puppets will be in. You could do them in any facility. It could be from senior citizens, preschool. You literally could make a puppet for wheelchair people, even, and people in wheelchairs also. So our goal is to build a tradition that all over the county, people are like designing these puppets in different facilities, different venues, or whatever, even individuals, to participate in the opening of the AmeriMasala. And it's the ultimate way to break down barriers, bring people together, and share our commonalities. Okay, so that's it. 11 o'clock Saturday, this Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn, thank you very much for your hard work on this. It looks like it's going to be a great day, very enjoyable. I'm looking forward to seeing how your plans all unfold. Now we're about a week into our Erie Refocused Summer of Hope door-to-door canvassing initiative on the East Bayfront. As you know, we're going door-to-door on the east side, and the neighborhood's bounded by Parade on the west, the Bayfront Highway on north and east, and East 15th Street to the south. This area includes several neighborhood groups covered by groups like BEST, the City Center, and Snoop's neighborhood group. To date, we've had 150 residents complete our block-by-block survey. I continue to be impressed by the people that I meet as I go to homes on the east side. I've visited homes on basically from Parade east on 3rd Street over to the Bayfront Highway, same on 4th Street, as well as up and down Parade Street, as well as Ash Street. Here are some of the things we're learning as we talk to these residents. Everyone we talk to is very pleased with that, number one, that the city's doing this. Some people are kind of surprised when I'm at their door when they answer. But the people have lived in this neighborhood on average over 10 years. So this isn't like a transient neighborhood where people come and go. These people are really dedicated to their neighborhoods. Most people we talk to, and it's a great majority, I would say 90% of the people I talk to feel safe in their neighborhood. What they're concerned about is crime a couple blocks away, but they feel that their block itself is safe. The key issues we're hearing from residents include there need to be more activities for youth, We need to slow down speeding traffic through the neighborhood because there's a danger that kids are going to get hit. They're very concerned about that. They want better lighting at night, and they want more neighborhood safety generally in the area. So the city, we're still looking for volunteers to help us with the door-to-door. Last night, we go in twos. Last night, there were 3 groups of 2 of us going door-to-door in the neighborhood. Obviously, we can get the more if we have more volunteers. So anyone interested in volunteering should contact Tessa Ferraro. Hi, Tessa. She's right here in the doorway. If you want to talk to her today about volunteering. Or you could email her at tferraro, it's Tferraro, at erie.pa.us. Or you can give her a call at 870-1201 if you'd like to. And we'll train you in how to do it. And it's actually very simple. I'm not real high-tech myself, and you do it on your cell phone, you take the survey. Sometimes I do a few typos, I have to admit, but I can actually do it, and I think if I can, most people will be able to. So we're going to continue these door-to-door surveys through the end of July. We've adjusted the timing slightly from what we started out with, just because we found certain times we couldn't get a lot of people at home. So we're going to go Monday through Thursday from 5:30 to 7:30 in the evening, and Saturdays from 11 to 1. And we'll be doing that through the rest of July. I can tell you, again, I hadn't done door-to-door since last year's campaign, and I'm so happy to be out doing it again. I've been able to make it to 4 of the 6 door-to-doors we've done so far, and it's just so heartwarming to me to talk one-on-one with the people of Erie and see what great people we have in this community. Next, I'd like to give you a little update on our Strengthening Police Community Relationship Partnership initiative that we're working on. We formed a council after our April 21st day-long initial meeting of approximately 100 people up at Mercyhurst University. That council has now met 4 times, and we continue to build relationships within the diverse group. We have been reviewing the Department of Justice's summary report that they gave us, and we've been brainstorming what action steps we can take to try to change the environment. Today, we're releasing to the press a summary of the April 21st event so that the public can see what was discussed there, and this was prepared by the Department of Justice. Keep in mind that this is simply a summary of that day's sessions. The task of the council that's working now is to work their way through this summary and identify action steps that can be taken, and to consider additional action steps that we need to take to reach our priorities. The process, it is a process, it's not going to happen overnight, but we are committed to identifying and acting on initiatives related to the 8 priorities that were discovered back on April 21st, or highlighted. The first 2 are the main focus when we had a vote at the end of the session. The first one is education, cultural awareness, and sensitivity, generally. And we're not pointing the finger at any group, we're just saying generally in our community we need more of that. The second is racism, which unfortunately still exists. And that's something that, if I can do nothing else as mayor, I'd like to eliminate racism in our community. The third issue is representation of the community on the Erie Police Department. Over time, we'd like the Erie Police Department, and the fire department as well, frankly, to reflect the diversity of our community. We want to build trust. We think that's very important. That's the 4th issue. The 5th is family structure and parental control. Family structure seems to have disintegrated a little bit, and we'd like to see that reinforced. Human and material resources and the police presence, approachability of police, and elimination of that us versus them mentality that unfortunately still exists. So the council has begun working on these issues. Here's a couple examples. In regard to increasing the diversity of the Erie Police Force, members of the council have been identifying and recruiting minorities to take the police test this year. We're providing a study session so they can prepare for the written test. We're also developing some agility training, which you have to pass the agility training to even be able to take the written test. And we're trying to identify minorities who are veterans to sign up for the test, and encouraging them to sign up for the test. The good thing is now the test occurs every year instead of once every 2 years. So there'll be opportunities every year for people to take the test, improve their score, and hopefully move up on the higher list. In regard to expanding our community policing efforts, the council has identified summer events that are occurring, and members of council are committed to attending these events and interacting with the officers, introducing them to residents, and again, trying to build those relationships. For instance, the council will be participating in our National Night Out, which occurs on August 7th. The council is very methodically going through the priorities that I listed from the summary and identifying next steps. I'd like to recommend the following members of the council who are present, and I don't know if I've got everyone here, and if I miss anybody, please let me know. Stephanie Montgomery?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, thank you, Stephanie. Craig Heidelberg, is Craig with us? Jack Denieri is here with us. Thank you, Jack, appreciate you being here. Fatima Ali Muhammad, thank you, Fatima. And David Morris. David here? Okay. I also want to recognize some members from my team who have participated in these council meetings. First, of course, Chief Dan Spizzarni. Chief Guy Santone was there as well. Nika Astari Carpenter, I don't know if Nika's in the room. Renee Lemus was there. And most importantly, our community liaison, Michael Outlaw, who's heading up this effort. Thank you, Michael. Okay, next we're getting to the best part of today's press conference. I want to call up Chief Dan Spizzarni and Chief Guy Santone to the podium to join me in recognizing some very heroic citizens of Erie.
On Tuesday, July 3rd at 7:10 p.m., Tim and Nancy Brooks were walking out of the Walgreens at 38th and Peach. As they exited the store, they were approached by a male who asked for money. They politely declined, saying they had no cash. While the Brooks walked to their car in the parking lot, they heard a woman scream. They looked back and observed the male who had just asked them for money standing over a female on the ground. Tim Brooks immediately yelled at the male to get off of her. The suspect got off of her and ran into the store. Tim and Nancy Brooks went over and discovered the female on the ground, Whitney Sullivan, who's here today with us, bleeding from the face and neck. Nancy immediately called 911 while Tim kept watch on where the suspect was. A third bystander, Melody O'Connor, with her daughter Lindsay, were in the drive-thru and saw that somebody needed help. Melody approached and helped to apply direct pressure to the heavily bleeding wounds. Nancy Brooks calmly called 911 and provided the necessary information. Tim Brooks continued watching for the suspect. Erie Fire Engine Company Number 6, firefighters Robert Weschfelder, Dave Wells, Jason Ortiz, and Joe Russo, who are here, arrived within minutes and took over the medical care of the victim. Erie Police Officer Justin Starvaggi arrived and held the suspect at gunpoint until backup officer A.D. Stewart arrived, and they took the suspect into custody inside the store. Emergent care ambulance arrived and transported the victim to UPMC Hammett, where she was taken immediately to surgery. Today, we are happy to know that Whitney Sullivan is out of the hospital, recovering from those serious injuries, and here today with us. According to the doctors at Hammett, the quick first aid at the scene helped save her life. Now, responding to an emergency is tough for trained professionals, but today we're here to recognize our citizens who stepped up and chased off the suspect, called 911, and applied first aid. Erie truly is a caring city. The Erie Police and Erie Fire would like to recognize Tim and Nancy Brooks and Melody O'Connor with the Police Department's Award for Citizenship. And before I call them up, Chief Santone would like to say a word.
Thanks, Chief. First of all, I'd like to thank the citizens for the job they did. That was outstanding. I'm here on behalf of the fire department. When I called these gentlemen up to respond today, and they all kind of told me the same thing, that, well, thanks, but you know, that's just our job. But as anybody knows, it goes over and above that. People don't realize, you know, they're still human beings. They have feelings, they have emotions, and they have fears like everybody in this room. But what makes them stand apart is the fact that when you roll onto a scene like this, they're able to put all that aside and let their training take over. And that's what makes them exceptional, and that's why they're here today. And being the chief of the Erie Fire Department, I'm really fortunate because I have a whole department, both men and women, that are just as good as these guys. And I think that's an asset to the citizens of the city of Erie. Thanks, guys, for a good job.
If I could ask Tim, Nancy, and Melody to come on up. Matter of fact, you want to come over here?
And why don't you face that way?
Oh, you're gonna have to switch those.
We gotta switch.
You're gonna have to switch those too. It's all right.
There's a lot of people here.
We'll get some more pictures at the end of this. But if you want to get three together.
Before you sit down, I have a commendation for you also. I'm not going to read the whole thing because Chief has covered most of this in his remarks, but I just want to say that on this 12th day of July, 2018, I, Joseph V. Schember, Mayor of the City of Erie, recognize Tim and Nancy Brooks and Melody O'Connor for their quick, heroic actions to save Whitney Sullivan on Tuesday, July 3rd, 2018. Your bravery in the face of danger showcases the best of our citizens in the worst of circumstances and saved a life while risking your own. Thank you very much. I'll get some more pictures after.
Okay.
after the end.
Sit down.
I don't know about you, but I got chills going through this today. Thanks to our chiefs for your leadership and what you're doing. I want to say I'm truly in awe and thinking of the heroic actions of these three citizens. They rushed to the aid of a stranger without concern for themselves. Their bravery in the face of danger showcases the best of our citizens in the worst of circumstances and saved a life while risking their own. Their actions made an enormous difference in the lives of many, including Whitney, her parents, friends and family who know and love her, and all the patients she will serve in the future. So I do have a proclamation for Melanie as well, or Whitney, I'm sorry, excuse me. Whitney, you don't have to stand, if you're fine right there. And this one I'd kind of like to read, if you don't mind. Whereas Whitney Sullivan is a Utah native who now made Erie her home as she studies to receive her doctorate in pharmacy at LECOM. Whereas Whitney Sullivan is a strong and resilient survivor of a senseless attack as she was walking into work at Walgreens on West 38th and Peach Streets. Whereas Whitney Sullivan was saved by the help of Good Samaritan bystanders, Tim and Nancy Brooks and Melody O'Connor, as well as first responders from the Erie Fire Department, Erie Police Department, EmergiCare, and UPMC Hammond's Intensive Care Unit staff. Whereas Whitney Sullivan has made it a priority to express her gratitude to those who helped her, as well as LECOM, Walgreens, and the Erie community for their support as she recovers. Whereas Whitney Houston continues to demonstrate courage and strength as she heals, and has publicly stated her wish to use this event as a personal reminder to be compassionate towards others. Now therefore, on this 12th day of July 2018, I, Joseph V. Schember, Mayor of Erie, hereby recognize Whitney Sullivan's utmost strength and courage throughout the terrible ordeal. Know that the Erie community is here with you and wishes you a full and complete recovery. Congratulations. That concludes this week's press conference. Everybody who spoke is available for interviews afterwards. Thanks very much, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thank you, guys.